friends. Hello, hi, how are you? I hope you guys are having an amazing day today. Hello. So for today's video, I asked you guys like last week on Instagram if you would give me your unpopular opinions, and I thought I could just react to them. I've done the videos like this before and I feel like people really like them. It's kind of just fun debating opinions. So I thought we could do it again and I'm really excited about it. The poof is in full force today. So without further ado, I got a ton of unpopular opinions. Oh my goodness, there's a lot. Wow, okay. So let's jump into it. The first unpopular opinion is Taylor Swift is an awful human. So I'm definitely kind of like a Swiftie. So I obviously disagree with that opinion. However, I don't think that's an unpopular opinion. I think a lot of people do not like Taylor Swift, and I do get the reasons why people don't like her, because there's a lot of things she does that are kind of like, Taylor. I think for me, it's just like, I've been a fan of her for so long that that's why I'm like super into it. Like, I've loved her music since I was like 12. So that's the reason I'm a super huge fan, but I don't think it's unpopular to say that people don't like her, because I know for a fact there's people that just don't like her. Ketchup is disgusting. Here's the thing. I don't know if this is weird. These are the hard-hitting opinions that you guys really came here for, but this is kind of an interesting one because I don't really like tomatoes. Like, I hate tomatoes. I don't mind them if they're in like a wrap or something, then I'll eat them. Don't really like them on a salad. It's too much. But which I know wraps and salads are like the same thing. I'm a very picky eater. However, I do love ketchup. Like, ketchup makes things better, especially ketchup and potatoes. Like, if you're gonna sit here and say ketchup is disgusting, comma, with potatoes, I wholeheartedly disagree. But ketchup as itself and like adding ketchup to everything, I think is overkill. Like, I think we can all agree that ketchup is not like the best condiment, but it's definitely not the worst. The worst is absolutely mustard. The smell of mustard makes me want to die. You may say I'm being dramatic. I'm not. So I don't think ketchup is like amazing, but I don't think it's bad, you know? I know that people have very, very strong opinions about condiments, so I have a feeling that that particular opinion is going to set people off in the comments, because I know that that's a very people have strong opinions about condiments, which I think is really funny. E.T. is scary. Yeah, I hated the movie E.T. when I was a kid because that little alien dude is creepy. I don't know why people for some reason have like made E.T. cute, and I don't get that. If you want to see like a cute alien, go look at Baby Yoda. He's adorable. I don't know if Yoda's technically an alien. I think he's considered an alien, right? I don't really watch Star Wars, but Baby Yoda is freaking adorable, and E.T. is scary looking. He's like legitimately terrifying to look at. I used to hate that movie because he was so scary. And then there was also that part in the movie where they had to go, like the government came and they had to go through those tunnels, and there were people in like all of the, oh my God, I'm like remembering the movie E.T. now and how horrifying it was. Yeah, and his fingers were really long. Pineapple belongs on pizza. I'm a fan of Laura Lee. I hate coffee. I don't think anything belongs on pizza other than cheese. So roast me. And as far as Laura Lee, I don't know. I think she's fine. I watched her declutter recently just because I love declutters. And like, she seems to just be doing her thing. Like, she's fine. I hate coffee. Here's the thing. I understand the hate for coffee because up until I was like 19, I literally hated coffee. I thought it was the grossest thing ever. But then I found the right type of like sweetener and the right type of sugar, and like sugar to creamer to skim milk to almond milk, which is delicious in coffee. I found the right balance between those things to make my coffee delicious. If I didn't have like, I would never drink black coffee. Never. Absolutely never. Never would happen. However, I will drink coffee with things mixed into it. Black coffee, though, makes me physically so disgusted. I think it's so gross. And Charles, my fiance, drinks black coffee, and I'm like, this is disgusting. Elsa is the worst Disney princess. Okay, I just watched Frozen 2, and because it's on Disney Plus now, and I've been in quarantine, so what else am I to do? So I just watched Frozen 2. Frozen 2 was not good, I'm sorry. Compared to Frozen 1, really not great. Did I cry? Of course, but I'm very overly emotional right now because of everything going on. I don't think that's because of the movie. Is Elsa the worst Disney princess?
Technically, she's a queen.
No, I don't think Elsa's the worst Disney princess. I really hated Sleeping Beauty, and that's really just because what did she do? Like, that Sleeping Beauty as a story and as a princess, I really just don't like. I also was never, I mean, I liked Cinderella, I guess. I'm trying to think of a worse Disney princess. I also feel like in the second Frozen movie, Anna was like the worst character because she just like wouldn't stop complaining and didn't understand that she couldn't run into fire because she doesn't have powers, and would like complain that Elsa would do things without her when Elsa's like 1,000 times more powerful. Like, stop being so selfish and needy, Anna. Anyway, I don't think Elsa's like the greatest princess though. I think we can all agree it's Mulan. There's no such thing as ethical consumption in a capitalist society regarding Sephora. Yeah, so let's talk about Sephora super quick. So Sephora recently, I'm sure you saw, probably it's been all over social media, they laid off all of their part-time employees in a 4-minute like dial-in Zoom call, I guess, doing essentially everything they said they wouldn't do when all of this initially started. And despite being a billion-dollar company who has well enough money to continue to pay their staff, at least for now. So a lot of people have been boycotting Sephora. I'm going to participate in that. I'm going to just shop from the brands themselves instead of shopping from Sephora. And that's just me. But the thing is, like, this is completely true. There is no ethical consumption under capitalism. You know what I mean? Every brand you buy from has probably done something shady. There's probably somebody associated with it who does shitty things. Like, there's only so aware you can be, and there's only so kind of woke, I guess is the right word, that you can be. And so I do understand why people kind of throw up their hands and say, what is the point of trying? Because no matter what I do, I'm violating things that I believe in, which is totally fair and valid. I also think that doing something and at least trying in some ways is better than doing nothing. I'm kind of a believer that nobody can be 100% ethical. So you just have to try your best. And if you're aware of something and it doesn't cause you immense discomfort to do so, just try, I guess. Who am I to say that if a person only has access to a Sephora and that's where they need to go to get their makeup, I'm like, well, don't shop there. Like, there's people who have to do what they have to do, and I don't think there's any point in shaming people for it. I just also think if you can choose to do the boycotts or do things like that, then do it if you can. I've done the spoon metaphor before, and I think it really fits perfectly here, that, you know, you only have so much effort that you can put into things. So don't feel like you have to waste all of your effort on like one thing, when in reality it's like, just if it doesn't cost you anything to do it, do it. And if it does, don't. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. Natasha Denona isn't worth it. 100% agree. I will say I do like her newer style of coming out with $65 eyeshadow palettes. I think they're a lot more reasonably priced for the formula. They have the Sunrise palette and the Love palette. I have both of those and I really like the quality. I do think those are worth it. But the $129 ones or more, I just don't think are worth it. Fake freckles are cute. Okay, are you in mind? First of all, that was Butte Bean, who I'm gonna link her channel down below. I have been obsessed with Butte Bean, like literally binging her content like nothing else. She's amazing. I think she's so cute, so funny. I really like her makeup content. I'm gonna link her down below. Please go subscribe to her. She's fantastic. Besides that, fake freckles are cute. Are you a mind reader? Because I have been watching TikToks of people giving themselves henna freckles, and it is taking everything within me to not give myself fake freckles. I think I would look so adorable. Like, am I wrong? I feel like I'd look so cute. I feel like freckles make people look so adorable. But here's the thing. The fake freckles can really definitely go wrong. Like, people can sometimes do overkill, or it just doesn't look natural because you didn't place them right. And I'm not exactly the most detail-oriented person, or am like good at doing things like that. So I am worried that if I tried to give myself fake freckles, I would just look dumb. And I know they take a little while to get off because you have to use, people have been using henna and then you like scrub it off and it fades and it looks really pretty. So I'd have to use henna, so it would be there for a while. And on one hand, it's like, I don't really leave the house, you know what I mean? Like, I'm stuck at home, you know? But on the other hand, it's like, I have to get in front of the camera and film for the internet for thousands of people all the time. So do I want to look stupid or do I care? I think I don't care. I'm probably gonna order some henna. I'm so sick of hearing about The Bachelor. I have never gotten into The Bachelor, and I live by that. No, I'm just kidding. I just have never gotten into The Bachelor. I think the premise of dating, and maybe I'm wrong, I know people love The Bachelor and like live for it, and I've never watched it, so this is purely based on what I know of the concept of the show, but I think the concept of one guy or girl dating 20 other people at the same time is kind of weird. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a weird premise. And then there's always all this drama and all the girls are like fighting each other, or all the guys are fighting each other over this one person. And it's, I don't know, it's just weird to me. I don't know if I'm alone in this because I know people absolutely adore The Bachelor, but I just cannot get behind it. Jeffree Star's makeup is overhyped, and that's why it only sells out once. I've never really like thought about that. My thing about Jeffree Star's makeup line is I don't know if it's necessarily, it is definitely hyped for sure, but I think the reason his stuff sells out so fast is because he has kind of cultivated a cult-like following of people who will just buy whatever he puts out. So the reason everything sells out in the first round, like instantly, is because there's people who no matter what product he puts out, they're gonna buy it. The situation is very similar to me of when Kylie Cosmetics first started, and she had such a cult following at that time. Every time she would launch anything, it would sell out in like 3 minutes. And that's just because there was so much hype around her as a person. And I think that's kind of a similar thing with Jeffree's brand, where it's like the reason all this stuff sells out so quick is because he just has fans that just like him and there's hype around him, so they buy the makeup regardless of anything. Some project panning is wasteful. I think this is such an interesting topic. I tried to do a project pan like 2 years ago, and it was like finish 18 in 2018 or something like that. I don't know. You guys that were here for it remember, but I tried to project pan, and honestly, I actually did find it really wasteful because I had a lot of I think it's really good for some people, but for me it just didn't work because I felt like I was spending so much time trying to use up this one specific eyeshadow palette or this one specific blush that for those months that I was doing it, I was just neglecting all of my other makeup because I was so obsessed with trying to pan and show progress in a video of like a blush being finished or something like that. You know what I mean? Felt like I wasn't utilizing all of my other makeup. What I really like is Shop My Stash videos where like every week or every month people will kind of rotate makeup in and out. I think that's a really good alternative if you want to use up makeup, but you also don't want to just use the same makeup for a year and neglect all of your other makeup. And also it kind of feels like, at least when I did it, it felt like I was using the makeup just to use it and not because I like enjoyed using it. It took a lot of fun out of doing my makeup for me, which was kind of weird. I had a very weird experience with project panning. It's okay to be unproductive right now. I wholeheartedly agree with this. I feel like there's this kind of momentum on social media right now where it's like Shakespeare wrote his greatest play during the plague. And it's like, yeah, that's super cool for Shakespeare, but like not everybody is Shakespeare. People are just trying to get by right now, myself included. There are absolutely days where I'm completely unproductive. And if I didn't have this channel, to be fully honest, I probably would be doing nothing all of the time. This is kind of my one thing that's keeping me going right now. But like, you don't have to do that. I feel like there's this expectation that people should be grinding and hustling and like making your side business happen and, you know, doing all of these things you always wanted to do but never could. And it's like, well, maybe you just want to sleep. Maybe that's something you always want to do but you can't. Maybe you just want to hang out. Like maybe your mental health is really struggling because we're living in a really scary, anxiety-inducing time and you just need to like go day by day and make yourself food and like chill. And that's fine. Like I don't think everybody needs to be grinding right now. Like we're in a pandemic. If there's ever a time where it's like, you know what, take a break. It's a fucking plague when you can do that. You know what I mean? Somebody just said room temperature water is the best and I want to vomit thinking about that. I like my water to be, tell me if I'm crazy. I like my water to be ice cold, like cold. Like I will turn on what I have to do when I use my tap water. I'll turn on my sink for a minimum of 15 seconds to let the water get as cold as it's possibly gonna get before I fill up my water bottle. And that's the tea. I don't think Carol Baskin killed her husband. If you want to know my opinions on that, you can go check out, subtle plug here, go check out the podcast I started with my fiance called Middle Ground. It'll be linked down below. It's like my little baby project right now. I love it. And the episode where we talk about Tiger King is one of my favorites, so I'll link that down below. We love a cliffhanger and self-promotion moment. Lizzo isn't as great of a singer as everyone makes her out to be. I wholeheartedly disagree, and I'll tell you why. I did theater for a really long time growing up. I've always been really into theater, wholeheartedly a theater kid here. The reason I think Lizzo is so impressive is her live performances. So like technically I also think she's a very good singer. She's definitely very talented, but also the fact that she has the amount of, this is so hard to explain. If you ever have seen a live show of Lizzo's online or just have seen her live in person, which I'm very jealous if you have, the amount of breath control that she has is unreal. I rarely see people who sound so good live while putting that much energy into their choreography and movements and things that they're doing. She is so high energy and has such a fantastic stage presence while still managing to hit every single note perfectly and sound amazing. I think that's a sign of being a really talented singer. I know she plays the flute, which is probably where she got such amazing breath control, but her breath control is like a dream. Like, you could only, when I was doing theater, I wish I had that breath control. I also think that now that she's doing more songs that are showing off her vocals, I'm like 10 times more impressed than I used to be. Like, Truth Hurts didn't have a super, it wasn't like technically a difficult song to sing, but Cause I Love You is a bop, okay? Can you tell I'm a Lizzo stan? I just think she's amazing. I love her. If I had had somebody to look up to like Lizzo when I was in high school, it would have changed my entire life, and I wholeheartedly like believe that. The earth is flat. Okay, so I definitely disagree with that one, but there's a really interesting documentary on Netflix. I'll link it down below. It's so good. It's about the flat earth community, and honestly, they disprove everything that the people in the community are saying in the documentary. Like, it's definitely not pro flat earth, but I do think it's very fascinating, the message behind it and the community of people who do wholeheartedly believe that the earth is flat. I think the message is really interesting of how you can't just call people idiots and then expect them to just like believe what you're saying. Like, you have to prove to them with science that what they're saying isn't correct. I think the whole documentary is really good, and I'll definitely link it down below. Most YouTube viewers would crack in a day of making popular content. That's an interesting one. That's from a YouTuber. I'm not gonna say who, I'm not gonna dox her, but that is from a YouTuber who I'm friends with. I do think that a lot of people have an assumption that doing YouTube is very easy. And I am the first to say that it's definitely an easier job than other jobs I've had. Like, when I worked in daycare, this is 100% easier than working in daycare. However, I've said this before, there are different things about YouTube that make it difficult. I think that make it a job, or doing it, like really doing it, I think that make it so you have to be a specific kind of person to be able to do it. Because I do think making YouTube content for thousands of people, or even hundreds of people, is a really challenging thing, and not in the sense that it's like labor intensive, in the sense that like mentally it can be very difficult. And I think it takes certain people to be able to do that. You have to have the kind of personality or the right kind of mindset to be able to get through that. So I think a lot of people assume that it's like, oh, I should just be a YouTuber, I can make money and it's easy. But it's like, well, there is more to it than that, and it can be a lot more complicated, I think, than people really realize. It is not to say that this job is like difficult. Like, I hate saying that it's like super, super, super hard, or making it seem like I work like to the bone, because I don't. Like, it's time consuming and can be mentally draining, but I wouldn't say it's like difficult. Does that make sense? I feel bad saying it's difficult because I've worked jobs that I know are so shitty, and this is like so great in comparison to those. You know what I mean? I hate cheese. Any kind of cheese, I just can't eat it. Honestly, this is really unpopular, but I don't like most cheeses. I actually like hate most cheeses. The only cheeses I really like, I like the Mexican mix that you put in quesadillas. I like American, and I like mozzarella. And mozzarella is iffy sometimes, and that's literally it. Like, any other kind of cheese I think is so gross, and I don't like it. And I talked about that on the Half Cousins podcast the other day, and everyone was like shook and mad at me that I didn't like most cheeses. And they were like, you're gonna get canceled. And I was like, you know what? If I'm canceled for my beliefs on cheeses, so this is the hill I die on, because most cheeses are kind of gross. Low-rise jeans should come back. No. If low-rise jeans come back, I should just never leave my house again, because I'm screwed. Tati has gotten too pretentious and unrelatable. I can't trust her opinions anymore. You know, I noticed the other day that I used to watch Tati's content a lot. I was never like a super fan, but I did enjoy her content. And I noticed recently I just haven't been clicking on videos, and I don't really know why. I don't know if there's like a deeper meaning to that. I don't know if I agree with this commenter, because I haven't really been watching her content lately. But then again, there's like a reason I haven't been watching her content lately, and I do think there is a level of pretentiousness that I didn't really notice at first, but then a lot of you guys pointed it out, and then it was like the glass shattered, and then I couldn't unsee it. And it really happened when the whole the Halo the puff thing happened and they ripped, and she made her whole video explaining like the issues with it. And I was like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. And then a lot of people made the parallel between that and Jaclyn Hill's explanation video. And I rewatched it with that kind of in my head, and I could see what people were saying. I was like, yeah, this is kind of manipulative. This is kind of blowing off people's concerns. I think because I thought so highly of Tati, I would see those videos and be like, yeah, it makes perfect sense. But then when people started pointing it out more, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I think you're right. So I don't know if I fully agree with this one, but I would agree that I've stopped watching her content, which she doesn't need me as a viewer. This isn't me being like, I unsubscribed. Like, she doesn't need me. She doesn't care about my opinion. But if you guys are asking, yeah, I probably have stopped watching her for a lot of those reasons. YouTube is not a lifetime career. I don't know about that one, because you see people like Shane and Jenna who have been able to make this a, 12-year plus career at this point. And it's kind of hard to deny that, and other people too. There's tons of people that have been around on YouTube for years and years and years and years. So it's kind of hard to belittle that accomplishment. But I will say, I think for a lot of people, YouTube is not a full-time career. And I think that's just because the internet changes and it's difficult to adapt to that. So like, I don't think this is my lifetime career of doing this. And I know a lot of people who feel the same way, but I also think it's just kind of like a wave. You just ride the wave, and then when it's over, and you had fun, and then you work a job. That's kind of what I've always said, But I think for some people, they can definitely spin it into lifetime long careers. What I kind of am interested to see in what's going to happen is the kids who started very, very young and who are now getting older and are in their like early 20s, because people like Jenna, I mean, if she's saved her whole life, she's set. Same thing with Shane, same things with like Smosh, like all of these older YouTubers who started when they were a little bit older and have saved throughout their 20s and 30s. If they saved right, they could absolutely retire at like 35 and just be good. You know what I mean? But people who started a lot younger and people who we've seen have kind of fallen into this like hype culture of buying tons of stuff and not necessarily saving. I don't know what's going to happen with them, because I can imagine that it would be very difficult to get a job after being a like Tana Mojo-esque YouTuber. Like, I can imagine that's going to be very difficult for her to find work outside of being an influencer. And I have to wonder the longevity of her influencer career. Like, will she be able to make it last for the next 20 years? Maybe. Like, people have done it. And if she doesn't, like, what happens then? All right, last one. Too Faced shouldn't have been canceled because of Nicki drama. It was shitty, but it's what brands do. I disagree about that. I think taking advantage of an influencer and taking advantage of just a person in general is, like, maybe it is what brands do. I can agree to that, that's not probably uncommon behavior. But I think, again, it's kind of what I talked about earlier. It's like, if you now know about it and it's easy for you to not support a brand that you know and have evidence that they did this type of behavior, why not just not support it? You know what I mean? If it's no skin off your back, why not just not do it? So I guess I kind of disagree with that one. I think also we can't change shitty things that brands do if every time they do something we're like, well, it's just how it is. Like, that's not how change happens. So maybe now other brands will look at that situation and think, hey, maybe even though this influencer is smaller and is not as experienced, maybe I shouldn't like screw them over for no reason. You know what I mean? That's just kind of just how I feel about that. I feel like you're not going to make change within unless you actually do something about shitty behavior. If we just kind of are like, meh, doesn't do anything. And with that, that's it for me. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, or just subscribe, or do neither. Honestly, just so happy you're watching me. Thank you so much for being here. My merch, my social media, and everything I'm wearing on my face will be linked down below, along with a link to register to vote. That's right, you can click on that link, you can register to vote, and you can be part of your democracy. It's like a super fun thing people are doing. And if you're not from the United States and that link does not apply to you, please make sure you're staying informed on what's going on. Use your voice in a positive way, because the world really does need more of that. Stay 6 feet apart, wash your hands, practice social distancing if you can. Please take care of each other, because we do need that. We need some kindness right now. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!